This is Basic AF episode 89. Show notes for this episode can be found at basicafshow.com. Hi, everybody. Tom Anderson here. Glad you could join us. It's our big WWDC 2026 recap show. We've got a packed room, Jeff Battersby. A packed virtual studio. Thank God you're not all here in the closet, but we've got the quad box in effect. So
yes, looks great. And
looks great.
We will. Let's post this right up front too. You can subscribe to us now, and by subscribe I mean you can make it so Tom and I aren't the only ones paying $3 a month to ourselves to support the show. We as you note, we have zero advertising, and you're welcome to
I like it.
Post up and give us a couple bucks if you want to.
Keeps us honest. We're not.
Yeah. We're happy to keep on doing this because we love doing what we do. But
we do.
If you wanna subsidize the few dollars a month that it costs us to host this, go ahead. We'll be happy to do that. You can do it on the Basic AF Show website. There's a link somewhere there.
There is.
Let you.
All right.
Let you do that. Hey, okay.
All right. We have two esteemed guests joining us.
Yeah.
Both returning guests.
Nice
so
to have some
esteem
here somewhere.
Yeah, I don't have it. So welcome back, Riley Hill.
Hello. Happy to be back.
Yeah, good to see you again. And Joe Moyer.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Woohoo!
I'm glad I'm still allowed around here. That's good news.
Yeah, we remember. Remember both of you.
That's right.
Good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing. And Riley, as you may recall, is a programmer, so he'll bring that genius here, plus iPad genius, because that's his daily. And Joe Moyer brings the cool and calm.
That's right.
It's good mix.
Everybody chill, guys. Everybody chill.
And I think Riley has already put the beta on one of his devices. So
have you really?
We'll
that's right.
you
get
developer
access. Cool.
Yeah.
Two devices. Yep.
Wow.
Both. Good.
The bold
Two
and the
devices.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Riley's got both of those going for him.
Yeah. The requirements, which I'm sure we'll get into, made it so I was like, you know what? I think I need to move beyond my normal SES device to make sure I can test this whole thing. So.
All right.
I like it.
Cool. Yeah. Happy to hear about it. So we had WWDC today, and I did, as I said before we started recording, the theme of WWDC, I can't stop saying WWDC.
Come on, Elmer Fudd, spit it out there.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Remember, my brain only works half now. It's I'm no longer.
It's questionable if it did before.
Right. So now, half of what it was is probably 10% of anybody else's normal brain. But the theme seemed to be today repentance on the part of Apple, without actually saying that they were sorry or repentant. Most of what we saw today, with rare exception, was AI related. And the theme of the show seemed to be, hey, check this out. It actually works on a device, as opposed to the glaring marketing madness that it was when we first heard that we're going to have some upgrades to AI. And I will say it seems to work. We'll see. We shall see. Apple has married Google for this, still maintaining privacy, which is a good thing. That makes me happy. As happy as I'll ever be when it comes to AI. And Tom just about fell off his chair. But it seemed in the live demos that we actually did get to see, that were still recorded, by the way. So they were live recorded demos. Everything seems to be working nicely. There are a couple of other things that are kind of interesting, which we'll talk about. But the big thing was Apple telling us all that crap we said that wasn't going to work, that what it was going to work before really is going to work this time. So that seems to be the theme of the show. And I will say kind of interesting, and we'll just pass this really quickly. This is Tim Cook's last WWDC keynote, heading it up. And he did say goodbye at the very end of it, kind of a sweet goodbye. I was surprised, though, that he did not introduce the new CEO and that guy didn't take this over. So that was kind of interesting to me, anyway.
Apparently, he was too busy making the rounds the night before. He was just shaking hands with everyone.
Man of the people.
Really?
With everybody, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of that going around on social media.
Apple's Mondami. Got it.
Great.
I knew Tom was going to be happy about that. That's why I said
yeah.
I just throw a little salt wherever I can.
Jeff's wearing his Hot Guys for Zoran t-shirt.
Looks good on you, Jeff.
Hey, it is a good look, right?
Maybe we should move recording to evenings going forward. I'm much sharper during this hour. 10 in the morning or 11.
Yeah.
So they broke this thing down into kind of three sections, we could say, right? So we did of course, Jeff alluded to the AI stuff with Siri AI. We're definitely going to talk about that. And they talked about some of the performance improvements that they were really focused on with this update. And, that's something we've been kind of wanting for a long time, is that Snow Leopard update, right? So for those of you who are a little newer to the Apple stuff, back in the day, there was a Leopard version of Mac OS 10 that was released. Had some issues. Remember that, Jeff? Like it would wipe home folders and stuff?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that was good. It was real good. And so they followed that up. That was version 10.5. They followed that up with 10.6, which was Snow Leopard. And I believe they actually had a slide that said no new features for that one.
Yeah. And you know what? That's the thing that Apple used to do for a while, is they would release some major update that changed the look and feel of the operating system and probably added new features, did things like that. And then the year following, you would get an update that fixed all the stuff that they broke. That's really what it amounted to. But it streamlined what wasn't working in older versions, in the previous or preceding version of the operating system. And that kind of seems like what we're seeing now with the next version of this. Yeah.
Right.
I didn't even think about that till you just said it this minute, but that's 100% accurate.
Yeah. And so they've got that. And then the kind of the third pillar they touched on was trust and safety, I believe is how they coined that, with some looks like updated and better parental controls and screen time settings and things like that.
Yeah, and they used a term which we'll talk about too, kind of drove me nuts, digital journey, your child's digital journey, which seems like a euphemism to me that I don't like very much. So yes, those were the areas. I would say the most time, we spent probably 15 to 20 minutes on the, what's under the hood, another 20 minutes on child safety and parents being able to keep their kids off of the device for hours and hours and hours. But the vast majority of what they talked about today had to do with Apple Intelligence and how it's going to work this time. So that was a good 30-plus minutes of the keynote was devoted to just showing us that this stuff that we said was going to work last time is going to work this time.
Yeah. And this was short. Like this was 65, 70 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't very long. Joe, Riley, first impressions of what they announced today, and then we can dig into some of the specifics. But overall, what did you guys think? Riley, you want to go first?
Sure. Well, as probably maybe the only one here without kids, that whole trust and safety section was just a snoozer. But I respect what they're doing. I mean, I get it. I hear from people with kids all the time about how lackluster and broken the parental controls are. So I'm glad they seem to hopefully be taking that seriously now, and making some big improvements that hopefully work, fingers crossed. But other than that, overall, I don't know how I feel about the new format. I kind of liked the OS sections, but I get this year that it doesn't seem like there wasn't enough platform specific stuff in any platform to do that. So, I get why they did it this way, but I miss the normal way. I hope they get back to it next year, but this was interesting presentation wise, I'd say.
Yeah. Joe?
Yeah, my first takeaway at the end was basically they're going to let us make liquid glass either completely clear, fully tinted, and AI, right? Like it was just, we fixed that part of liquid glass. You can stop emailing Tim. He's not going to be getting him anymore anyway. But, I liked actually the way they set it up in the beginning. They focused the three big kind of buckets: platform improvements, trust and safety, Apple Intelligence, and Siri. You're right. There wasn't anything that was really like a wow, but it really was like a snow leopard. They had some fun with the new Mac OS name, which was kind of what you would expect from the beginning of one of these keynotes. But I thought the talk of responsiveness was good. I've got an iPhone 15 Pro, which is kind of chugging along. So I'm curious if there'll be any improvements, because liquid glass is my biggest challenge with it. Is it does kind of drag my phone a little bit. Trust and safety. I've got 2 young kids, and I feel like the tide's turning a little bit around technology with kids. My kids use iPads. My daughter uses a computer a little bit at school. But we have friends who are kind of shifting to be more, I won't say anti-technology, but very leery of how much screen time their kids are getting. So I think it made a lot of sense for Apple to get in front of it. Digital journey. Well, that's sort of Apple's way of saying we're not Meta. We're looking at this in a more thoughtful way. Whether you think they're doing anything differently or not, I guess is to be sort of determined. But I thought the additions to like screen time and things like that to help the kids out and help the parents out looked really promising. So, and the AI pieces, Siri AI looks like it's going to be, I don't know if I should say this out loud, but it looks like it might actually be useful. You could cut that out if you want, if you're worried about being too much.
No.
I'm hopeful.
I just knocked on wood.
Right,
we're okay. We saved it. Yeah, it does. So, when they announced this previously, that was the promise, right? We'll be able to use all the information we have about you privately to be able to do special things. And I will say that, as we all know, that never came about. Talked about a lot, but it was all, pie in the sky, foo-foo. We could do this because we're really good at editing video. And this does look like it may actually work. And I do like a lot of things about what it is that Apple hopes to do with this. It looks interesting. There are a bunch of new apps that this is supposed to work with in special ways. 3 new tools in Photos. Safari is able now to group tabs by topic, which, that's kind of interesting. Passwords, that's the only one I'm a little skeeved about. Just because Tom's laughing at me again.
Smiling, Jeff.
Smiling. No, it's not. That's a laugh, Tom. I don't know how I feel about, the password app, and this is one of the features of it, going out and all the bad passwords or reused passwords that I have, going out and change those for me. I do use the password apps, algorithm to create whatever passwords it is, but given it, yeah, sure. You go out there, go change that password for me. I'm going to use the bathroom. I'll be back.
I'm curious to see what sites it works for, because they said can do it with supported sites.
Yeah.
So I wonder which ones and types and things like that.
Yeah. So anyway, that's interesting, and we'll see. There are a couple other things writing wise. I don't know about Riley or Joe, but I am the least inclined of between Tom and me to use AI. I have used it for some things, but I'm disinclined to use it. And I'm a writer. I've been a writer for a long time, and I'm not using AI to write anything that I write, even if it's I'm going to run out to the grocery store. I don't use that. I won't. Some of the things they showed today, particularly as it relates to messages and mail, is complete emails created based on some information that you're giving. Offering up a whole slew of things. One of the demo items, which I'll admit was cool to see, was for the Brazil soccer game, the opening game of the World Cup that's coming up, putting together menus from both countries that they're playing with, and then sending all that information out to the soccer crew to let them know that this is what we're going to do, and if you guys want to come over, we'll do it. And finding from your email a cookie recipe. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there that's really interesting, but having your phone generate all that stuff just seems janky to me. There's something about it that just, I don't know. I'll say it. It makes my testes shrink.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah. What are we going to get knocked out? Sorry, Tom.
Anything else you'd like to tell us, Jeff?
No, there's nothing that I need to say.
The circle of trust. Well,
yeah. Here we are.
We just went back to that 10% brain activity. So.
Jeff, I thought about you when they were talking about not only will the new AI, Siri AI, write for you, but it will write based on your tone, and it will write based on the tone, I think, specifically of the person you're writing to. Which I don't plan to use. I like to write and then kind of play with AI on the back end, but definitely thought of you because I know your feelings about.
Yeah, no, it makes me uncomfortable. That's not, when I said what I just said in whispers, it really does make me feel that way. There are things about it that I'm uncomfortable with, and that's a piece of it. I'm not saying the AIs are going to run wild and, send emails from me.
Take your passwords and stuff.
Yeah. Change all my passwords and then hold
for you. Yeah.
Hold me hostage. There we go.
Yeah.
So,
Riley, I don't think we've had a chance to talk to you about this in much detail. What, on the AI side of things, where are you at this point with using it, not using it, in between, some things, no things? What are your feelings on it these days?
I struggle a little bit personally just because from a YouTube perspective, I struggle to figure out where that goes because that's kind of supposed to be a creative type of thing for me. And I think some people are using it, but I don't want to use it to create thumbnails like that. Or even when I ask it to generate a script, I usually just ignore it. So haven't found much use there. As far as writing for my site, pretty much limited to proofreading. I do use a combination of writing tools and Claude for that. And then at work, our company is at this point where I think a number of companies currently are, and probably reevaluating of use AI or get out type of thing. They don't say that, but that's basically what they're saying. So we are encouraged to use AI in literally everything, email, calendar, Teams, just everywhere. So, I want to fast forward to the point where we get to being able to run local models on, powerful and competent local models on consumer level hardware where we have a little bit more control. That's where I think AI is really going to sing, but we're not there yet.
So it's interesting. You're saying that your company is not explicitly but tacitly saying that you better be using this, otherwise, see you, pal.
They don't want. I mean, there's in a lot of fields. I think that you don't want to look like, I guess, you're quote unquote behind. I think that's most of it. You don't want a client to come in and being like, oh, you guys aren't using this. Why would I work with you if you guys aren't even using the latest stuff type of thing? I think that's where they're coming from.
Gotcha.
And sure, whatever. If you're going to pay for it, that's fine, But yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're still in the, let's see, the early days. Like, it's obviously, if you go back, it's progressed a lot, but at the same time, it's still not, things haven't settled in by any stretch, because you see, some places encourage it so much they'll actually have token leaderboards. It's like, well, all that does is show you send stuff. It doesn't mean it's anything good. It's just performative. It doesn't, who knows? And then other companies are starting to see, the token cost is getting to be as much as salary. It's like, yeah, how about that? And and at some point, I suspect, I could be wrong, but I suspect that the low cost plans, the $20 a month plans with the, things you can do, like Claude obviously has usage limits, I think, are a little more restrictive than some of the others, but just until you run out of tokens, and then you have to wait. But I think we're going to start to see those prices go up, because they are completely subsidizing this to get us all hooked. First hit's free, kids. Take all you want. And then that is going to have to be adjusted, and it's yet to be determined if these companies will ever make money.
Right.
Like, they're burning a ton of it right now. So we'll just have to wait and see. But so Apple, as we talked a little bit about, has kind of pegged Google as the partner here, using the Gemini stuff. Now, apparently they made it clear that it's not running Gemini like true Gemini. It's using the Gemini models they've built on top of it. So I think that's good. Jeff mentioned, the privacy aspect is still in place. And it does look like they have tightened up kind of the system requirements for some of the versions, hardware-wise. Like, Apple's always done, traditionally, at least over the last 15 years or so, a very good job of making sure your device, if it's 3, 4, 5 years old, will get the most recent update. But they've kind of cut that short a little bit on some of these. Riley, how's the iPad look?
It's not as bad as I thought initially. I was actually just going through this before we got on. The big one is the 2018 iPad Pro got cut this year. And that iPad that's kind of a legendary iPad for me. That was the first, Face ID, all screen iPad that's hanging in there for a while. But other than that, it's really just been the tail end of the last one on the 26th release. All of those got cut. So like the iPad mini 5th generation, iPad 8th generation, and then like the iPad Air 4th generation, I think, were the others that got cut.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, and they, the phones, I think it's still a pretty lengthy list of phones that are supported for iOS 27, but then the list shrinks dramatically, I think, when you start to look at like the Apple Intelligence features that you can get. And apparently there's like a more powerful local model, constricts the list even more. So that's a thing. watchOS 27 really narrowed the list down. It was like Ultra 2, 3, SE3, Series 10, and 11. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, so, that up a lot.
9to5Mac was saying, I reading this too, apparently omitting the Series 9 is a mistake. So apparently the Series 9 will be supported. Hasn't been updated yet, but they were told that was a mistake. But yeah, watchOS, it looks like got decimated, with the available models. Just kind of crazy.
Yeah, because like I was planning to upgrade anyway, because I've got the Ultra 1 and the battery's starting to get a little weak. And so I'm hoping that the Ultra 4 is, what I want. But Mac OS is, they told us this last year that the Intel systems were going to drop off, and they did. So if you've got Apple Silicon, you're in good shape. Again, though, depending on some of those local models, your ability to run those or not will depend on, like, if you've got an M3 chip or higher for some of those I saw looking through. So it's a little more complicated than it traditionally has been, I think, with the operating systems, because it's like, yes, you can run it, but not that hasn't happened before for some things. Like some of the features here and there would be like, well, yes, you can run it, you can install the operating system, say on an older phone, but you don't get X, Y, and Z necessarily. So just read the fine print.
Right.
I don't know why I'm tickled that the iPhone Air, is one of the phones that gets everything, just because it was so maligned, I guess, by so many for daring not to have the same battery life as the Pro Max. But like something about that just makes me chuckle. I don't know.
I will tell you, I've got a friend who has the Air. Shout out to Stacy Frennis. And she loves that thing. Absolutely loves it. Her husband, Abe, ended up picking up a Pro, I think got a Pro Max. But she thinks that thing's amazing. So, it's got its place. There definitely is something to be said for that. As you said, Riley, as maligned as it was, or as maligned as, it's like, the thing sucks. Doesn't suck for everybody.
Yeah, so iOS 27, iPhone SE second generation, iPhone 11 and up.
Yeah.
Basically.
Didn't they say they weren't cutting any iPhones from last year? Did I miss?
I thought they did say something like that, but then I thought they contradicted it, so I only had a chance to watch through it once, so I was a little confused by that. Maybe it's certain features are getting cut. I know the more powerful on-device model, you need the
latest.
The iPhone Air, the 17, and then iPad with M4 later and M3 Mac both have to have a minimum of 128 gigs of memory. So,
my conspiracy theory was just that because they kept the iPhones, and the iPhone, despite Apple failing in AI, has been selling like crazy. Funny. It's almost like customers don't care about AI on their phones. But I just felt like, they're cutting some iPads and Apple Watches, these devices with kind of long, refresh cycles, maybe trying to nudge some people to some upgrades on the product lines that might need it. I don't know. It's my theory.
They need the silicon elsewhere, right? They need those memory chips.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, my wife uses Siri all the time, and mostly to play music, and it works for her. When I want to use AI on my iPhone or my devices, I just open Claude. Like that's so I'll have to see about breaking that habit once Siri AI is here, because I've sort of gotten into the habit of not using it just because it really wasn't useful for me.
Yeah, it hasn't been useful really for anything for maybe since the second version of it.
Hey, it could set reminders like no one's business.
Yeah, okay.
Come on now. And timers? Ooh.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry, I don't have a timer running right now.
So just to give you a quick example of what may be cut depending on which model you have. So one of the things they announced is that you'll be able to customize how Siri sounds. So you'll be able to pick a voice and then kind of set the speed, tone, accent, that kind of thing. And so when looking at the iOS webpage for version 27, the preview page, there is a 3 next to that particular feature that they show. And so when you scroll down to the bottom into the fine print, available on iPhone 17 Pro, 17 Pro Max, iPhone Air, iPad models with M4 and later and at least 12 gigabytes of unified memory, Mac models with M3 and later and at least 12 gig of unified memory, and Apple Vision Pro, only the M5 model. So it's going to be things like that, like just, certain features here and there. So again, just read through the fine print if you're concerned about it.
What did you think of the voices of the new Siri voice?
I don't care.
Yeah, not too much. I mean, I like that when that you could speed it up, because I thought that was a little.
That sounded more
better.
natural.
My first thought was the same, Jeff. Of like, it doesn't matter. I don't care in this life. Just what it sounds like.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
I'm not having a conversation with it. I'm, trying to get it to do something, and he usually doesn't even do that. So that's interesting. So you can on the models that you can customize it on. You can customize pitch, speed, tone, and the accent, which is all kind of interesting. By the way, on the front page, Tom, it says customize how Siri sounds. It then has a 4 on this one.
Oh,
so I'm looking at a different page than you are. Let's go down to what 4 says. And 4 says, same thing.
okay.
Same that yours said. So, so does not work on my phone, by the way. So I don't have anything to worry about with regard to.
You won't spend hours tweaking the voice.
I probably wouldn't have spent hours tweaking the voice in the first
Never
place.
say never, Jeff. I mean, it's cold winter
All
night
right.
up there in New York. You never know.
You guys and my therapist, okay? Never and always. Those are two things you can't say anything about. So I love you all as much as I love my therapist.
What would you guys like to get into next? We've got a big list of stuff. Obviously, we're not going to cover it all.
Let me ask this question. So one of the things that showed up in Photos was being able to change. It is an AI feature that really kind of is another skeeve, where you can change the angle, change what it is that you're looking at. And there's some things about being able to do that I think are interesting. But when you're also using it to remove the hottie that you were going out with on Friday night when you were supposed to be home with your wife, that part I don't. I mean, you could still do that in any other app. Look at me talking about stuff that I don't do, but I didn't like it when Google. When the Pixel was able to do that a year ago. And I get that Apple has to add these kinds of features because it's keeping up with the Joneses, but it is that stuff bothers me a little bit. There's something about it that makes me, I don't know. Unless it's obvious that you're changing reality, which I think, Tom, you posted a link that says that any time that's done to one of those photos, there's going to be a little marker in the photo that says that it has been changed using AI.
Yeah, I think Google. I don't know if Google developed that, came up with it, or if they signed on board with it. But it's Synth ID.
Okay,
and it's supposed to be a hidden watermark if the image has been edited with AI. That would show up somewhere. I guess it's in the metadata at some place.
Yeah, the whole image playground in that particular. That particular reframe feature is what it's called. So you can change the angle, you can change all sorts of things. It just seems, as with so much that is AI, part of learning to do the thing right is to, take a bunch of bad photos, write a bunch of bad sentences. Those are the ways you get good at, taking photos and writing sentences. So part of it for me, it says you don't get to visualize the world or work in it a way that you should. But, I'm a bitchy old man, so what can I say?
I think it's that what is a photo now, right? What are we taking? What are we seeing? What's coming through the other side of the camera? In theory, I like some of these ideas. The idea of extending the photos is probably the weirdest to me. But I understand, I understand the desire to. You get a good photo of something important to you, and you want to, I don't know, maybe not make their head 3 times too big, so you kind of pull back on it. Although you might be able to do that with the reframe feature as well. I think the reframe feature is the one I think I like the most. But I'm curious what it will do to the photo. I have seen people in my family take photos of family members who are no longer with us and put them into, I don't even know what app they're using, but it turns them into animations, and it is spooky because it's not, they're taking it from one photo and then it moves and it doesn't look like them anymore. So would be really curious to know how much it changes, because I guess if it's changing the angle and not changing the photo, that would not be as difficult. But how could it not change the photo, right?
Yeah, I suspect they're going to leverage some of that same technology they've used with the lock screens. You get that kind of that parallax effect on the lock screen. Like if you put a picture up and you turn it and kind of like, it's almost like you can see behind mine are usually my kids or the dogs or something, but you can see behind whatever like the quote unquote subject is. So I feel like it's the same thing. They've done a lot of good stuff in Vision OS in the Photos app with some of that spatial technology where you can have it kind of analyze the photo and it gives it almost a lenticular look to it of sorts. And so pretty cool there. I think they're doing a pretty good job balancing like that because you don't want it to go too far. Right. And it's like you can take people out, but you can't. I'm assuming you can't put people in, which is where it would get real sketchy, because then Jeff can put the lady he thought he was going out with, but not. But it would be me, and then it get really weird. So I think it's okay. The cleanup stuff, to be able to take things out, I like that. I mean, that's in.
I do like some of that.
Lightroom,
I'm not going to
everything that you can. This would look really nice if I took the utility pole out of the picture. And you just take it out.
That's like the classic example, getting rid of the utility pole.
Yeah, poor utility poles. But if you got rid of them, you'd miss them if you really needed them. So I'm okay with it. The regenerative stuff, like to fill the image, I think it's just going to try to extend whatever it has there in the picture in some type of a logical manner. So none of that stuff really bugs me too much.
Everything bugs me, Tom.
I do want to call out the improvements to Image Playground, which I think maybe I was the only one who used in any capacity over the last year. It turns out if you give it a prompt to generate just like a background of, I don't know, like wavy, just abstract backgrounds, it can sort of get there sometimes. And it was kind of useful for that. I would almost... This is more for blog posts, and I would almost always blur it a bit too, but like it could kind of do that. And I like the idea of using it now to generate actual abstract wallpapers, which I feel like I spend a lot of time just looking for on the internet for reasons. I don't know why, I like to. So if it's good enough to actually do that now, I think the old one was capped at like 1024 by 1024 for the output. So it sounds like you can create bigger images now, which is nice.
And
so
now photorealistic
like
images as well, which, everything that came out of there was kind of goofy looking. Like if you tried to do stuff of you, in the Highlands with your knickers on, it was,
it's like, what is this? I remember that.
So they've obviously upgraded whatever models they're using for image generation, whether it's Nano Banana or whatever Google's is, and so that's
and I think part of it was they wanted to make sure you knew it wasn't real. I think that's part of the previous version is they wanted to make sure you knew you were looking at something that was AI generated, not the president dunking on Hochul, however the hell you pronounce her name. She's my governor, and I can't even tell you how to pronounce her name. But, that whole thing, not that anybody thinks that that's real. You know what I'm saying? I think that's part of the reason Apple was being very conservative with it previously. Which,
I wonder,
by the way,
though, if it's really what it was or if they just couldn't get anything better and they kind of spun it in that direction because they surely don't care now because these all look pretty good. Like in terms of realism and everything.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, you may be right, Tom. I may be crazy. But I just kind of lunatic you're looking for.
I noticed.
All right. Billy.
One of the things that I think will actually, if this works the way they want it to, they kept talking about how the intelligence is going to be more personal and useful, centered around you, right? So we love to be the main character of our own story. So if it actually works, I think it'll be incredibly successful because while Jeff, I understand that it might be a little spooky when you ask your phone to set up a play date with your soccer friends and there's food and invites flying around. A lot of people are going to eat that up. I
you're
see
right.
It being useful,
Yes.
I don't want it writing my writing for me, but if it can help me do something a little quicker that is kind of would be just me swiping through apps. And, if it knows enough about me to be helpful and, not creepy, we have Amazon devices in the house still, unfortunately. And the upgraded version of that was trying to get more kind of personal. So if you set a timer for a food item, it would say, "Oh, that's going to taste great." When stop that. Like, I want you talking about my salmon, right? Like, this is just weird. So, but I think the centered around you is going to be, what, if it works, is going to be what makes it so successful, because people love, their phone is going to cater to them in a way that it's been a little bit difficult to actually get it to do the things you want to do, especially if you don't have Claude on your phone or another AI tool. I think that's where the promise lies, not in I'll write your boss a letter and make it sound like it came from you, but more like, I'm going to know enough about you not to be creepy, but to be helpful.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Joe. I also think that's the reason that when this was promised to us, was it 2 years ago or was it last year? I can't even remember anymore.
At least 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. That's what I thought too. When this was promised to us 2 years ago, I could see the value in that, but I think the problem that Apple ran into is it's not easy to make it personal. It's very, very generalized. And so keeping your personal information private and making it so, it can serve a purpose for you, the individual. I think that was a steep challenge that they did not, I don't think they realized quite how steep that challenge was. Mm-hmm. And it'll be interesting to see if it works. I mean, it looked in those kind of demos today like it did work. It looked like it was kind of reasonable in ways that, 2 years ago, the videotape lied. This does look interesting, and I do see the benefit of that. Whether or not I'm going to use it that much is a fair question. I'm disinclined to use Siri now because half the time it doesn't work. So, or I could do that on your phone if I say it to the HomePod. If you get your phone, I can do that. I can do that for you. It's like, okay, great. I don't want to get my phone. I just wanted to ask you.
Well, didn't Google just announce this year or a couple months ago for Android, this whole personal context thing? Like, speaking to it being hard, if Google couldn't do it before now, I don't know how Apple thought they were going to,
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe, who knows, maybe they were doing it together. That's the whole thing.
Could be.
You've got one hand scratching the other's back, or however that saying goes.
So, Riley, you got the betas installed. So, developer beta. Public beta is due in July. I saw you post, you got on the wait list for the Siri, and you've already been accepted or approved or pushed through the line, I guess we should say. I know it's only been a little bit. Have you been able to do anything with it yet?
Couple things I've learned so far. Although it might be, I don't know, might be making a liar of me. Siri, okay. First thing, I put it on my test iPad, which has a test Apple ID, which has no iCloud storage left. So the Siri app is yelling at me that I need more iCloud storage, I think for storing my conversations. So I have a persistent banner in there right now that says my iCloud storage is full. So that's fun. Which is why I put it on the second iPad, my work iPad, which is going to be fun. So far, I mean, it's kind of going back to what you were saying, Jeff. Like, I think I maybe have been trained just not to use Siri. So I got the Siri, and I'm kind of like, what am I supposed to do with this? like what? I was just a little lost. So I tried a couple of requests that were about the same speed that they showed in the demo. What did I ask it? Some things it doesn't know. So like someone was asked, Jesus. This is my HomePod. Sorry.
Praise the song, Riley.
Yeah. I asked it if iPadOS got clipboard history like we got on macOS. And I think the first time I asked it, it was like, yeah, here's how you use it, because it was referencing like the Mac OS Spotlight. It thought I was on a Mac. Then I was more specific the next time, and it was like, no. And then it gave me like a Wikipedia entry about clipboard history. I don't know. It's a little weird.
Great. Yeah.
It's working great. On the iPad, it does combine Spotlight and Siri like it does, I guess, on the Mac. So Command Space brings up Siri. It doesn't bring up Spotlight. There's not two interfaces, which is nice. So it's still pretty early. There is a nice animation you can do on iPad where you kind of pull it down from the top, the Siri bubble, which is kind of cool. But it's still pretty early. I mean, it seems anecdotally to work a little bit better. I'd have to grab my other iPad where I did a better test, but I think it's working.
Good.
Tentatively.
And something they gave us was a standalone Siri app, which had been rumored.
Yes.
And so
which
that
also
contain...
stores history, which is one of the things, Tom, you were complaining about before.
And it has options of like, I think it's 1 week, 30 days, and forever are your options for retaining your history.
Okay.
Just trying to pull this
That's
up here.
commitment right there. It's a month there. We're till death do us part.
Right.
Okay. So it's 30 days, 1 year, and forever. Yes.
Okay. What do you think you'll set that on? Any clue at this point?
It defaults to forever.
Okay. That's probably where I'd leave it.
For now, I'll probably keep it there. We'll see how that goes. I think, as you mentioned, Jeff, I'm noticing like on my M1 iPad Pro with 8 gigs of RAM, I don't have the expressive voices. Mm-hmm. That requires I'm on my M4 iPad Air with 12 gigs, and I can do that. Okay. Obviously, a lot faster and smoother on the M4 Air. But yeah, I'm anxious to try to figure out ways to actually use this now, now that it's a competent assistant.
So for those of you that are using AI on a regular basis, those demos to me seemed really slow. Like, the thinking time, collecting this information, collecting that information, figuring out, what to do. But I don't use AI with any regularity. I use Claude occasionally for, sometimes just for fun, sometimes to ask questions, but mostly not at all. So I don't know. Does that comparatively, how did that seem to you to what you've, Tom, you've used pretty much everything and are regular on Claude now, I think, and Gemini at work.
Yep.
But how does it seem to you speed-wise?
The few that I saw, it looked like it was 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah.
That it was, kind of thinking, and then it would, give you some type of an answer or result. I didn't think it was too bad. Like if you go into like ChatGPT and you're just in like the standard lightweight model or something like that, like those are pretty quick to reply. But once you go into the more thinking type models, right, and it's more an advanced type thing, I mean, those can take minutes. Mm-hmm. And you're depending on what you have them do. Like if you're saying, research this compared to that, I mean, they can run 5, 10, 12 minutes, but different, right? I think these things on the phone, in particular, are like, hey, what's this a picture of? Like they showed in the keynote, I think it was, where it was like, it's this, bridge. Oh, add a stop there when I go to Steve's house or whatever the demo was. Those are lighter weight, I think, than those types of kind of hardcore or more advanced searches. So I think, it's early. Like I'm sure we'll have to wait and see how it shakes out. Like with third-party apps, and once they start to integrate it in, it's how much latency is in there. It's probably too soon to tell, but I didn't think it was terrible. It did seem a little slow, but again, when you're standing there looking at it, waiting for it to do something, it's like waiting for the pot of water to boil. It just seems to take for days. So we'll have to wait and see.
Wouldn't it be funny if they intentionally slowed those down just to reassure people?
So that when you get it, it's like super zippy.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I just fed, sorry, I almost said Claude, Siri, I almost fed my assistant a blog post to proofread, and the speed was pretty comparable to Claude.
Okay.
In terms of how quick it returned. So that wasn't. In some cases, it keeps up so far.
Okay, good.
All right, very cool.
Yeah, something I wanted to ask you about, Riley. Safari now can build extensions.
Yes.
Did you get a chance to try that? Is that functioning yet?
I did. I got it to work once.
Siri can build like a custom extension in Safari is the better way to put that. But
yeah, I got it to work once, and I haven't gotten it to work a second time. I don't know if that's. I'm chalking that up to beta 1. But I told it to build an extension that, because we don't have any kind of developer mode in Safari, or for whatever reason on the iPad. So I said, start easy, give me a view page source extension. And it built it. And I said, make sure I can edit it too. And it built it. And it seems to work.
Wow.
So I was going to see much further I could take it, but then I feel like the option disappeared to create a new extension. Like, I don't know if they only let you do one. But
is that on your test iPad with no iCloud storage?
Actually, it was. So it could be it.
You've hit your usage limit. You'll have to wait 4 hours. You don't have your iCloud Plus plan on there.
God, there's a good chance you're right, actually.
And something else that I'm excited to try is they have added shortcut support, like to build shortcuts using Siri.
Yeah, that sounds fun. They didn't dig into that too deeply, did they?
No, they didn't. But they definitely said that there are going to be some difference, including, I think, in the UI for shortcuts.
Yeah.
So that should
sounds
be
really promising. Yeah.
I gave that a shot too. You
sound hesitant. I mean, it is beta, right?
It is beta, so I don't want to, and we don't know what the limits are. I'm sure there are limits on what it can do. I tried to tell it to make a shortcut that I've always wanted of, like, I put my iPad on my Magic Keyboard, it turns on windowing, I take it off, it turns off windowing. Like, there's no actions exposed for, like, connected to Magic Keyboard to do this yourself. So I told it to build it, and it built a shortcut, and it half worked. Like, it detected that I took the iPad off the keyboard, but wouldn't work after that. And I can tell, like, when I go into edit that shortcut, you don't see the actions. You're back in the AI prompt-driven interface, so I can't tell what it's doing under the hood.
Okay, so it's all vibe coding, we'll say.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
but it looks promising. I was working on one of my shortcuts this morning and just, like, hating how terrible shortcuts is just in general. So with a few more betas, I think this has a lot of potential.
Nice. That's exciting. Yeah, hopefully they really work on that and push it to do some things that could open up so many possibilities.
Yeah. And I think we all know it's a beta. So, like, I think we all are hopeful and realize that if it's not working right now, then it hopefully will be. And maybe there'll be a new iCloud, price tier for all those tokens we're going to need. But, it's services revenue, guys.
Yeah.
Keep that up.
iCloud plus.
So I have a question about the. We've talked a long time, as they did in the keynote about Siri. I want to talk about the child safety features briefly. Again, I'm well past that. It's at this point it's going to be grandchild safety features, and I'm disinclined at whatever point in time a grandchild shows up in my life. I'd rather be reading a book with a grandchild than futzing around with an iPad. What I'm curious about, and I didn't see any indication of this, it seems like this is really something that's ripe for MDM, like a parental portal that you go to. And it still looks like this is one-to-one on the iPad. Is that what it looks like to you guys?
Yeah, there's been no indication so far of anything changing, anything looking like a child, a manageable account in that way. It's still very much 1-to-1.
Yeah. So that to me seems like any smart kid's going to be able to figure out what the passcode is and find their way around, whatever limitations that you're putting on that device. My wife, who's a school teacher, who's retiring, by the way, in a couple weeks. Hard to believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But these kids, they're on Chromebooks and they can find their way around every single control that they put in place. So you got kids, who were supposed to.
We would have never done anything like that back in the day, Jeff.
No. You know what? I did all my homework.
Yeah.
I never had to have any homework signed.
I never went home
parents.
from high school and told my mom I was late and I need a note for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because back then, that's all you needed was a handwritten note that said, hey, please excuse him because he was late or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I was whatever. And so she'd give me notes and I would keep them. So I'd line up 3 or 4. And then at any point that I wanted to skip like the first half of the day, ride around with my buddies or whatever, I always had like my get out of jail free card.
Right.
So kids would never do stuff like that.
Right.
I'd worry about them if they didn't.
This is all new because of tech. No, it feels like to me that this is, Apple has just made it so basically you can do MDM through business. Through the business accounts without yet having to, go to Kanji or any of these other bigger houses. It feels to me like this is the place where this should be living, even if it's a bunch of individual iPads that the kids are going to have or phones that the kids are going to have, that's the place it needs to go. But who am I? What do I know?
Yeah, it could end up in iCloud at some point, right?
Right. Some kind of iCloud parental control that for...
Yeah.
Yeah. We have the 2 iPad minis. Well, we have 1 iPad mini because my son got really excited about the water table. And instead of setting the iPad down on the table, he set it on the water table. So that iPad is no more. They're not waterproof, no waterproof rating, just in case you're wondering. But my kids are the age where they're not looking necessarily to break the rules, but it's more about keeping inbound stuff, which there's not a lot, but just making sure that they don't accidentally go someplace they're not supposed to. And any way that they could unify that so you could do it on more than one iPad or more than one device would be so nice. I'm not sure why they haven't done that. I don't know what the benefit is.
Seems like a missing component at this point in time to me.
I agree.
All right, we're at 57 minutes and some change.
Yeah, it's plenty enough.
So
boring conversation for anybody.
So closing thoughts, Jeff?
Why don't we
you install the betas?
Riley and Joe? We can have them.
We know what you think. It's AI. You don't care.
Yeah, right. Next.
Yeah. From an iPad perspective, well, like I said, there wasn't much platform-specific stuff for anything. Maybe on Vision OS, as I look at that page, there was a few more things than I thought. Still no more native apps, though, which is frustrating. But overall, I don't... Like Joe was saying, like for me, AI has been the Claude app, either on my iPad or on my Mac. It's and that's been serving my needs just fine. So it's nice Apple's doing all this stuff. I'm sure I'll use some of it, but I wasn't one of these like pundits who was just screaming for Apple. Apple needs to do AI. It needs to be they're behind. Blah blah blah. It's like I have AI in this app. It's fine. So I'm glad I'm glad they're keeping up. If I were Tim Cook and now John Turnus, I would always be worried about being BlackBerry and like missing on something so completely, some big shift that you lose everything. And so I get why they have to, even if maybe they don't believe in it, like you have to keep up in some things just to stay relevant. And that's what this feels like. And, that's fine. They had to do it. And we got some other small improvements too that are nice as well. So I I'm content. I won't say I'm not thrilled. I'm not disappointed. It's all fine, just fine, I'd say.
Which, if your spouse said that to you, Riley, you'd know you're in a heck of a lot of trouble.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
No, it's fine. Yeah, you go ahead and take that weekend with the boys. It's fine.
Seeing Mr. Tim Cook at the Rainbow, at the intro was kind of cool to see. He mentioned they get 1,000 app submissions per hour, which is insane. And with everybody vibe coding now, I can only imagine what they're getting. It felt like almost like a quality of life kind of upgrade. But the one thing I've been thinking a lot about is I like to nerd out on stuff. So that's why I go to Claude, because it's a little more nerdy, using Siri the way they want us to use it is going to require me to change my habits. So I think for me, that'll be the biggest challenge, really, is I'm so used to doing things the way I've done it. I'm so used to not using Siri. It just never really worked for me. It really will be a question of whether I can fully embrace the new features in a way that makes sense. So I'm glad they're doing it. I'm hopeful. But I'm so used to Claude. It's kind of like what Riley said. I'm so used to going to the app, doing what I want to do. So it will be interesting to see how I incorporate that into my life. And I'm curious, how my wife will use it. I told you, she's been using it for a while and it seems to work for her. So, it'll really be interesting to see how it changes the way we use our devices.
Tom.
So I went into this with kind of muted expectations. I mean, for WWDC, there wasn't much hype around it. And I think those expectations were fully met. I am excited about the performance improvements and the cleanup and some of the nice, hey, we've gone back and tweaked this design or that design. So the quality of life things, I am excited about that because I think that's been long overdue. And I think that's, it's not something you're going to, it's not going to blow you away, but that's something day to day that you will notice. Like if the app opens the way it's supposed to, and AirDrop works better, and all these different things. So I'm excited about that. The Siri stuff, having seen it, like if we had just seen this for the first time, I'd been like, oh, this looks pretty cool. But we saw all this 2 years ago.
Right.
Now, some of it's changed a little bit, with the advances in AI and that gap too. But the kind of basic concept of personal context, it's going to be able to surface things from all your apps just at the right time to make things more convenient. Like we'd seen all that before, so there wasn't anything really too exciting or new there, other than the most important thing is it seems to work. At least so far in the demos that they've showed us. Now, we'll have to wait and see to know for sure. But so that's all I think. I'm optimistic about all of that. And like Riley and Joe said, for AI stuff, I'm sure I will use it, like the ability to be able to tell it to do, hey, I'm going to, schedule a party for watching the Knicks game, Thursday night, have some people over. So message Jeff, Joe, and Riley, hey, here's what's on the menu. Show up here, send them an invite, do it in the Invites app. I don't care, whatever. And just have it string all of those together and just do it. Would be great. So I like that concept, but I think the writing and things like that, like 2 years ago, writing with AI was kind of, oh, wow, look, it can draft your email replies and everything like that. But it's shifted so far past that like nobody really cares about the writing part too much anymore. It's, hey, look, I can build apps. I can do all this research. I can feed it 12 PDFs and it can summarize whatever. And I can then do an MCP over to this service and have it bring this stuff in. So it's really moved way past just the writing part, and I don't really care about that stuff too much. And so I don't expect to not use Claude as much as I am now. I suspect that's going to continue, or if Claude falls off the rails, whatever one I go to next. But I do suspect I'll use the kind of the things where dips into different sections of your apps and it can put an invite on the calendar and send a message to somebody, or, hey, build a shortcut that does something, so some vibe coding and shortcuts, or building extensions in Safari, those types of things.
Nice. Yeah. And you know me, I mean, Tom, you've been a serial non-monogamist when it comes to your various AI friends. You've used a lot.
Well, hold up now. Because I'm just telling you, that can go pretty far these days, Jeff, and I'm not down that path. We're talking about
I left
platforms.
that wide open for you.
We're not talking about AI mates.
Tom is actually an AI construct, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, just want to let you all know.
Yep.
I think the thing I will be happiest about is the tweaking under the covers. I think tightening the OS says plural, making them work better is great for me. We'll see. Maybe there'll be something AI that I'm interested in using. The more I see, the less I'm inclined to say that I will. But I'm open. I'm not closed to any of those things. And like I've said, I do use Claude from time to time for things that I need to use Claude for. So, we'll see. We shall see. I am excited to get my hands on a public beta on one of these before too long and see how that plays out. So, and as Tom mentioned before, we've now burned an hour and 5 minutes of your time. And we're grateful that you stuck around this long. Riley, Joe.
Can I do one more
please.
real quick?
Yes, of course.
Super last comment I wanted to make.
Super last.
Isn't it kind of crappy? I mean, they didn't know. They didn't know what they didn't know. But it feels to me kind of crappy. They have been selling these devices proudly badged with, built for Apple Intelligence for years. And only the absolute newest ones can take full advantage of everything.
Mm-hmm.
All those 8 gigabyte devices. It's something.
Yeah. 3, 4. As they used to say in the print business, Riley, you buried the lead. That should have been at the top of the show. Now we've got like 3 people left listening to this.
But you are exactly right. I think that they were squeezing those margins for everything they could, and now it's kind of come back around. But
Yep. Here we are. Different kind of reach around. It's the end of the show, Tom. Nobody's going to say anything. We are always grateful to Psychokinetics and Randall Martin Design, Psychokinetics for music, Celsius 7, the gentleman who lets us do that. So you can check out those 2 artists on your favorite streaming app. Randall Martin Design for our show logo, which we love. Riley, Joe, really grateful you guys were able to pop on and do this. Makes it a lot more fun, more interesting than just Tom and me talking to each other.
Yeah. It's always good to join you guys.
We're really grateful to have you. And as a reminder, there is, if you go to basickafshow.com, a link where you can, give us a little money that helps us stay afloat. So if you want to do that, please do. We'll be grateful for it. And as always, feedback at basickafshow.com. More than happy to hear from you. Encourage you to send us little emails.
yes, we've gotten a couple.
Yeah, we have.
All right, Riley, where should people go to find more of your excellent work, sir?
Slatepad.org for the writing, and then it'll link you to the YouTube channel where I post the semi-occasional YouTube video, mostly about iPad stuff, but, sometimes I do other things. But those are the 2 places.
Awesome. And Joe, how about you?
You could find me at 24letters.net. You can use the digits 24, or you can spell it out. And I also publish lately more occasionally than I'd like, because the day job has been, sort of sucking the oxygen out of the creative part of my life. But we're working on rebalancing the journaling guide, which is a ideally biweekly look into how you can make journaling work for you and different ideas. I like to look sometimes at the history of journaling too, to see how people have done it. If you sign up, you get the journaling challenge. It's super simple, 10 days of prompts. It'll start the day after you sign up at 6 a.m. You can always reach out to me for feedback, or if you want to talk about how the process is going for you. And then I am still planning a live call about journaling at some point. So to be determined on that. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, great. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yes.
both of you coming on with us. We'll have you back, of course, at some point later this year, and we'll dig into some new stuff. But that's it. So thank you, everyone, for joining us for this episode of Basic AF. We do appreciate it. And until next time.
See ya. 1 hour and 10 minutes.